Hi guys, Sam from Everything PSP here. Today we have a subscriber request, taking a look at Burnout Legends for the PSP and covering some tips and tricks. Thanks to Dan Barnes for the suggestion. Now this is actually my first time playing through this game. I've played other titles in the Burnout series, but I'm curious to see how it translates to the PSP. Just a quick disclaimer, if you notice any frame skipping in this video, it's just due to the limitations of my emulator, and the game does run very smoothly on PSP hardware. I've broken this video up into rough sections covering some of the history behind the game and the series, and then taking a closer look at the title and its quirks and features. Burnout Legends is a racing game developed by Criterion and published by Electronic Arts for the PSP. The game features many of the tracks and gameplay modes from the first 3 Burnout games, but they're repackaged into the handheld format. Many of the gameplay modes are similar to Burnout 3 Takedown, using a mixture of old and new tracks. The PSP version of Legends received mostly positive reviews. In the game, players will compete in a series of racing modes to unlock returning tracks, cars and events. There are a total of 95 cars to unlock through the various classes: Compact, Muscle, Coupe, Sports and Super. The cars featured in the game are from Burnout 2 and 3. The game also has collector's cars. There are 5 collector cars for each class, however the player only starts with just 1. To get the other 4, the player has to challenge another player on a Wi-Fi mode, betting their collector car against theirs, and winning that car in the challenge. Collector's cars are also exclusive for the PSP version. There's a wide variety of game modes to choose from as you unlock more stages in the World Tour. The variation keeps things refreshing, and for fans of the series, it's nice to revisit some of the classic tracks from the original trilogy. In World Tour, players compete against other cars in different varieties of modes. The tour is divided into car types. Finishing gold in the GP unlocks the next World Tour series. World Tour is the primary way to unlock cars. So I wanted to take the time to address the physics in the game, as it did take some time getting used to. There's a lot of rubber banding when it comes to the AI, and they'll noticeably slow down and speed up with you. Sometimes you can feel like you're miles ahead of the pack, running at wide open throttle only to see a rival appear out of nowhere and take you out. So this was admittedly a little frustrating for someone who's played more realistic driving games, but I understand that it's designed to serve the more arcade-oriented playstyle and encourages you to get involved in more crashes and stunts. You can never truly be comfortable in the lead, as it won't be long before the enemy car has caught up to you and smashed you into a wall. It's sometimes better to trail behind the competition until you get closer to the end of the race before speeding up and taking them down before finishing. Sometimes the enemy cars will clip through an obstacle, and sometimes a small nudge will destroy you instantly. The damage calculations can seem a little random at times as to which car is dealing damage and which is receiving, but overall it's fairly intuitive once you've got a few wins to your name. It's quite fun watching the cars fly around and get smashed up, but it's far from realistic. So I just wanted to share some of the strategies I developed during my quick play session. The biggest tip I can offer is to use your boost as a weapon rather than a way to catch up to the pack. As I mentioned before, the AI rubber banding around the player is quite heavy, and it'll basically wait for you to catch up if you fall behind anyway. This means it's better to save your boost until you're in range and then use it to launch yourself into the competition. Just remember that once you hit the boost, the AI will also increase their speed, so time it wisely. In the pursuit mode, it can be effective to get ahead of the enemy and block them off, letting them ram into you or bounce into the wall. The chase cam is a useful feature too, but it can leave you feeling a bit disoriented when it switches angles constantly. Keep an eye on your angle during slow motion scenes. After you take an opponent down, the game slows down to show off the carnage you've caused, which is cool, but make sure to keep watching where you're driving. It's not uncommon to get distracted by a takedown, only to find yourself seconds from disaster when you actually regain control of your vehicle. Slipstreaming behind enemy cars can help build your boost meter, but you do need to keep an eye ahead for upcoming obstacles and turns. Once you build up a bit of speed, you can end up getting in the zone and navigating through some really tight gaps. Near misses will reward you with more boost, but take care as one wrong move could have you at the back of the pack, and later in the game will probably result in a loss and require restarting the race. The most useful technique I found is using the rubber banding to your advantage, resisting the use of boost until you've closed most of the gap, and using it to passively manipulate the other cars. Take time to practice how the driving physics work, and learn the course layout. After a few laps, you'll be able to predict the track ahead a bit better, and this will help you get into the zone and maintain that flow state for the length of the race. This might sound like a strange analogy, but the game feels less like a racing title and more like a temple run style survival sprinting game, sort of with your car handling like a boat and the enemy AI attacking you like hungry sharks. It also feels a bit like an extreme fishing game, especially in the pursuit mode where you have to ram your police boat into enemy whales. The fast pace and low resolution make avoiding some obstacles quite difficult, and the physics between the car and the road are quite floaty, which prevented me from timing and executing drifts and stopping for corners efficiently. Of course, I probably just need to get good, so this is not a criticism of the game itself. It just took me some time to adjust, going from playing games like Gran Turismo and Need for Speed to this. Definitely way out there on the arcade side of racing games, compared to its contemporaries like Split Second, Twisted Metal, and Fired Up. It is a decent title, and the mashup of content from the original trilogy of Burnout games surely makes it a hit with fans. I will persevere with the game and try to unlock some more content, but from what I've seen and shared with you guys so far, it is a fun game to pick up and play. The soundtrack is definitely an interesting collection of music and not my personal favourite, but it is very reminiscent of the times it was released, and it could be quite nostalgic for some. All up, it's not my favourite racing game, but a surprisingly feature-packed title that's geared well towards casual gaming on the go. There is a full walkthrough guide for this game that has a lot of extra tips and tricks. To read it in full, have a look in the description where I've posted a link to the full walkthrough. This link includes all the takedowns, earnings, and requirements to unlock each secret vehicle, as well as hidden modes to unlock. So that's about it for today. Thanks for tuning in to Everything PSP, and thank you again to Dan Barnes for the suggestion. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, if you haven't already, consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. And leave a comment telling me what you'd like to see me cover next. I'm always open to suggestions and will do my best to accommodate all the requests that I can manage. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Everything PSP.